Okay, a quick demonstration of how I set up Lightroom print module to print a black and white image. This is my technique and it works for me, and it tends to give me a neutral tone, nice crisp black and white image. So this is the image from Berlin, which I've processed, got it all set on the screen as I want it, and I'm going to take it into the print module now. I have some presets here. What I'm going to do is just go through how I would set this up. Well, the first thing is the page setup. So I'm going to select the printer that we want to use. So we want to use the Epson here, and we want to use an A4 sheet in landscape mode. That's all I'm going to do at this point. I can set other things in the actual the printing module separately. So that's the page setup. So that's our page side. We have other choices there, but we can do this. We can also choose these things later, but it's better to do this first. So that's our page setup. But the image is, it's sitting offset here. The things aren't good. So what we need to do is sort that out. So if we haven't used this setting before, or this printer and paper combination, we can manipulate things here. So what I am going to do is we're going to set the margins. So we can do that by typing in numerically here, or we can just set them here to the minimum that the paper will allow. So we'll just leave that at the minimum for the moment. So again, the image is sitting in the middle. We can see our guides and our rulers here, which I would advise you to keep on. They're very, very useful. So I want to make an image here that is full-size A4 sheet. So what I'm going to do is the image size itself is determined by the cell size here. So I'm just going to max that out using the sliders. And as you can see, the image doesn't quite fit the cell size. So we can zoom to fill, and that's going to fill it right out as far as we can go without printing. I'm not going to get into borderless printing, just going to print maximum image size on this. And with this particular image, there's such a little change whenever you zoom to fill that it really doesn't matter. Depends on the image. So you can check that or uncheck that. So that's going to give us a maximum image size. If we wanted a particular size, if I wanted this image to fit a smaller mount that I'd pre-cut, I could change it here, take the zoom to fill off, and change, and that will keep the ratio size of the image from the one particular value, whether it's the height or the width. In this circumstance, if you zoom to fill, you will crop the image. So, you may want a square crop, but you could set a square image here, 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters, and get a square crop and say, well, actually with that image, that's fine. And there's your square crop, and you're not losing, and you can maneuver the image within that to sort of balance it out if you want to do that. But we're going to take that off, and we're going to go back to our full image size for this this particular image, though it doesn't really matter for the rest of it. So the next bit I'm going to come down to, I'm not going to bother with putting my name on it or identity plate at this point. This is about just getting a nice clean black and white image, and this is the important area here, the print job window here. So a couple of things: we don't want to print in draft mode, we want good quality. Print resolution, this will default to 240 in Lightroom. Take that off. That's something that I have found through experience. I let the printer and the software sort out the printing resolution. Don't set restrictions on it. I know some people argue that with Epson printers it's multiples of 360. I have found just unchecking that gives me a satisfactory quality, artifact-free image. So the way I do it is just leave that unchecked. I leave print sharpening as standard, and the media type in this case is glossy. You have some options for the sharpening, low, standard or high. I think it is useful to give some output sharpening, and I find it easiest to do it here, and I just apply the standard. It works for me. The next bit is the important bit, color management. Now in this you have your ICC profiles. You have a whole raft of them here that you can add into this menu. At the moment I have the 3 that I commonly use, and so if I want to color manage this, then I can pick the profile. But this is where I believe people get the color cast in their images, whether they're a little bit purple or a little bit blue or a little bit green. This is where it comes in. So this is the trick that the way I deal with this is I let the printer manage the black and white printing. And so we've also got the option here for print adjustment. Take that off for the moment, and we're good to go. Next step then is to go into the printer dialog, and this is just pre-printing. So this is going to lead you into an OK button that's going to set the printer off, get your paper in your printer and ready to go. So we've got our printer here, and what we want to do is go into our printer driver properties, and this is where we set it up. Now generally things will be set for color, so we're going to change that. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick our paper, and in this case for the paper I've chosen we want the glossy setting, so we will take that. But then when we come down in, you notice we're using photo black ink, and that's appropriate to the paper that I'm using, which is a luster paper. And then we will go into under color, we go into advanced black and white. And the next step then is to go into the advanced setting. Now, for some reason, the default for this is darker. And so actually what we want to do is go into normal, and we're getting here. Some of these drivers are different. You'll have options to change some of these differently depending on the printer. But basically, I prefer to start with normal, and it works for me. If I go into darker, I find my prints are too dark. So select normal and OK. Don't change anything else. And we've got our quality print, which is giving us super photo at 1440 dpi, which is pretty good. That's going to be enough for a black and white A4 image. And that's basically it. The next point in this is to click OK, and that will send the image to the printer and should give you a tone-free image. One other thing that I would suggest before that is click the print preview button. And the other thing that you can do once you've done this is save this as a template in Lightroom, and you can see on the left side I have a number of templates already set up. So if this is something you're going to use, save it as a template. And that's how I do black and white printing, and that's what works for me. Now, if it doesn't work for you, I'm going to do another video to show you how to get around that. Because the thing that you will find with this is that you should be getting nice, clean black and white tones out of a quality printer like the P600. What you may find though is that the image is either too light or too dark, and so the only way really to deal with that, and the best way to deal with it, is to do a test strip the way you would have done in the darkroom. And I'm going to come on to that later, but this is basically the setup that I use and how I get black and white prints.